Before sunrise in Sri Lanka, as monsoon clouds pressed low over the island, an ordinary morning turned into a national catastrophe. By 4 a.m. local time, relentless torrential rain, far heavier than forecast, began overwhelming rivers, drainage systems, and entire towns across multiple provinces. Within hours, massive flash floods carved through neighborhoods, sweeping away homes, vehicles, and anything standing in their path. As emergency sirens echoed through the early dawn, Sri Lanka faced one of its most destructive flood events in recent years. Officials reported that rainfall totals surged past 300 millimeters in less than 24 hours, an extreme intensity typically associated with cyclone landfalls. But there was no cyclone warning, just a rapidly building monsoon surge, intensified by a deep pressure system that stalled over the region. The result was catastrophic. Entire districts submerged, bridges washed away, hillside communities destroyed by sudden landslides, and tens of thousands forced to evacuate. Residents in the Kalutara, Gaul, Ratnapura and Matara districts described a terrifying scene as water levels rose faster than anyone could react. Some said the floods swallowed their homes in less than 10 minutes. Cars lifted off the ground and floated down roads like toys. Walls collapsed under the pressure of rushing water. Families climbed onto rooftops, waving flashlights toward rescue boats that struggled to navigate submerged streets, now flowing like rivers. By mid-morning, Sri Lanka's Disaster Management Centre declared a nationwide emergency. Military units, police, fire brigades, and volunteer groups deployed across the hardest-hit regions. Helicopters were dispatched to rescue stranded residents in areas where bridges were destroyed or where roads had completely disappeared under landslide debris. Some villages reported being entirely cut off, with no access by land or air due to low visibility and collapsing ground conditions. The power grid began failing across multiple provinces as transformers were submerged and distribution lines collapsed into the water. More than 200,000 people were left without electricity by midday. Mobile networks flickered in and out, complicating rescue coordination. Emergency hotlines were flooded with calls from trapped families reporting rising water inside their homes, elderly relatives unable to escape, and children missing after being swept away by flood currents. The rapid escalation caught many by surprise. Meteorologists had warned of heavy rainfall, but few expected the levels unleashed in such a short window. Experts now say that the combination of saturated ground, record monsoon moisture, and temperature anomalies created perfect conditions for extreme flooding. Rivers such as the Kalu-Ganga and Gin-Ganga surged beyond historical flood levels, breaking embankments and spilling into densely populated areas. As floodwaters raced downstream, landslides erupted across the central highlands. In Ratnapura district, entire slopes peeled away from the mountainside, sending massive waves of mud and rock crashing onto homes below. One survivor described waking up to a sound like a roaring train before her home shook violently. She escaped with her children moments before the hillsides swallowed her neighbour's house. Dozens are still missing in the landslide zones. Throughout the afternoon, the situation worsened. Continuous rainfall pushed reservoirs toward critical levels, forcing authorities to open floodgates at several major dams. While this action prevented structural failure, it sent additional surges of water into downstream communities already struggling to cope with severe flooding. Many residents said the floodgate releases doubled water levels within minutes, intensifying an already deadly crisis. Evacuation centres quickly overflowed as families arrived soaked, exhausted, and traumatised. Many had fled with nothing: no clothes, no documents, no food, nothing except the hope that rescue teams would reach their loved ones still trapped in flooded homes. Schools, temples, and government buildings filled with displaced people as emergency crews distributed blankets, clean water, and medical supplies. Medical teams reported rising cases of hypothermia, injuries from collapsing structures, and infections caused by contaminated floodwater. Hospitals in Gaul and Kalutara struggled to keep emergency rooms running after portions of their facilities flooded, forcing doctors to treat patients in hallways lit by backup generators. Throughout the crisis, videos emerged showing the scale of destruction. Highways transformed into brown, raging rivers. Entire neighborhoods underwater up to the rooftops. Boats rescuing elderly residents through shattered windows. Landslides wiping out entire rows of houses in seconds. Bridges that had stood for decades collapsing into swirling currents.
If you found this report helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it so more people can stay informed about what's happening around the world. Your support helps these updates reach those who need them.